Um, West Ham and their stadium situation, and the fans are obviously a bit green with envy. You're looking at Everton, maybe they're bubbling up with a bit of discontent about the London Stadium. Do you think they've got any chance in the near future of getting their wish with a new stadium purpose built?
I think it's. I think we've gone a bit bonkers in terms of stadiums. I mean, I think
Yeah.
that it is interesting that Everton are possibly the first new stadium that's been as welcomed as Bramley Moor Dock.
Mm.
Most of these new stadiums that teams have moved into have had quite sizable reluctant movers, shall we say, within the fan base. And actually, Everton seem to be almost, just looking from the outside, almost all in favour of the move as a sort of new chapter of the club, which I think is going to be brilliant for them, because it's going to mean that there's more chance that the atmosphere in the new stadium is what you would hope for from a home stadium, especially having left Goodison, which we know is a noisy stadium and historic stadium. So I think that's very positive for Everton, but slightly surprising as well, because most of the time you get the sort of West Ham situation where people are very sad about leaving the old historic stadium. I think that ship has sailed. The idea that West Ham would in some way relinquish the Olympic Stadium that they've got on the most incredible commercial arrangement they could hope for, and build another new stadium in London. I think that's absolutely, I mean, it's just crazy. So no, I think there's zero chance that West Ham will leave the Olympic Stadium, or whatever it's called these days, and nor should they. I mean, I've been a number of times, okay, as an away fan, but I've been a number of times to West Ham, and I didn't think it was as bad as is made out for atmosphere. But maybe it sounds different in the home ends. I don't know. Certainly, people are very spread out, but it's a very big stadium as well. So I don't know. But you can't. They're not going to do any. You'd have to spend literally $1 billion and a half to get a stadium that was better, and it's just not going to happen. So I think it's a crazy concept.
Yeah. Do you think there's any way they go any further with the moving into the stands, the redevelopment there? Do you think that could go further?
I don't know. I mean, part of that does feel quite temporary, some of it, but very, very expensive to do. So I don't know. It's maybe if they could get some proper naming rights deal or something like that, then maybe that could transform it. But I think a material change, or sort of movable stands, or all this sort of stuff that I think was originally planned in the mix, that sort of thing feels very expensive. So not sure.
Yeah. In terms of their situation at the moment, new manager bounce has gone a bit flat. Do you think there's going to be any tightening of the belts coming this summer? The reduced Premier League prize money, for example, that could play a factor, maybe.
Well, they've got quite a lot of PSR capacity still on the back of Rice, so that's not a problem for them. It's a question of how much the owners want to invest, and very hard to say. I mean, it's a club that I think finds it hard to get itself out of that middle ground within the Premier League. But when you've got 60,000 plus fans coming in every week, then you're going to be under pressure to spend money. The problem that they've got is that it's not like any of these clubs. They're not particularly profitable before player sales, and player sales are not the way that people want to see clubs make profits, because clearly they have an impact on the pitch. I mean, that goes without saying. So they have other players that they could potentially sell. A big hit that they've had, really, big problem for them has been Paquetá, and losing that. He was going to go to City for probably 80 million quid, which would have given them a nice profit. And now, they're left with the problem of, his case, whether it will ultimately end in a ban either way, it's going to be very hard to sell a player. So, you know, it puts him in a tricky situation.